Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Cracking the Cryptic. So last time we did puzzle 613, puzzle number 16, which wasn't too bad. After taking a break between puzzle 15 and puzzle 16 to do an easier puzzle in the other sample pack, that seemed to rejuvenate me quite a bit. And so almost certainly I should have done that in between several other puzzles. Like after 500, 500, 500, 500 would have been a good one. It's funny it's 4 500s because subconsciously I just want to say 500, 500, 500 and not add the fourth 500. But yeah, I could see of taking a break somewhere around puzzle 8, puzzle 11. Definitely could have taken a break after puzzle 13. And that probably would have helped my experience in this quite a bit. And so I guess that does teach me one thing, that if I was ever going to do Sudoku puzzles permanently, I really would need to balance out difficult puzzles quite a bit. I'd probably need, just like the Studio Goya's classic Sudoku app, and play that every third time or something, third or fourth time, and then try some of the more difficult variants either through Cracking the Cryptic or one of Studio Goya's other variant puzzles like Killer Sudoku or Night Sudoku, things like that. But frankly, it really should just all be in Cracking the Cryptic as one app with just a ton of DLC, but inherently you're going to get more people looking at your game, which is going to get you more sales if you release new games versus DLC. And there is only a $100 Steam Direct fee to release a new game on Steam. And I imagine it's probably $100 to release DLC on Steam. So of the two choices, it's obviously more logical to release a new game, even if it is slightly or extremely similar to previous games you've released. And I can cite one example. I could cite probably dozens of examples on Steam, but there is one game series that comes out on a nearly weekly basis called I Commissioned Some ... So you'll get a hidden object game called I Commissioned Some Bees, and in that you'll have a few pictures with hidden bees in the picture that you're trying to find. And then you'll, in the next couple of days, get a game called I Commissioned Some Bees 2, and then in the next couple days you'll get something like I Commissioned Some Cats, and then you'll have the exact same game, but it's just cats, different pictures. Inherently, if there was any kind of limiter to how many games you could put on Steam, you would see series like that combined into a much larger game that probably is worth a lot more overall in quality, and would just be a better bargain for consumers. Alright, well, I've been here for 2 minutes and haven't even looked at the cat's whiskers. It's a partial crop key arrow Sudoku, so that's several different variants by Puzzle 17 by Tallcat. Most of these names sound made up as like usernames, and I assume that's what they are, is usernames of the most intelligent, most popular people on Cracking the Cryptic's website, making puzzles, Sudoku puzzles, and posting them. Classic rules still apply. There must be a 1 through 9 exactly once in every row, every column, and every box. Arrow rules also as a variant get added. The numbers along the shaft of an arrow must sum to this number. So 9, for instance, cannot be on this arrow because nothing plus 9 can equal 9, which is the maximum number. 9 plus 1 gives you 10, and so on. But there is no rule, and it's important to point this out, that the numbers have to grow consecutively. So this could be 9, and this could be 6, and this could be 1, which would give you 7, and then this could be 2, which would give you 9. We also have a partial crop key variant that says the white dot between two cells indicates that the neighboring digits are consecutive. So they're one away from each other. So this could be 1 and this could be 2, or it could be 1 here and 2 here, or it could be 2 here and then 1 or 3 here. A black dot, which is not even used in this puzzle, would indicate that the digits are twice as big, and the rules don't change, so the black dots are being mentioned. Feels like it would be just helpful to eliminate that instruction in this case, since there isn't a single black dot here. The partial indicates that not all the possible dots have been given, which that's enough of a variation on this variation that you probably should just invent a new name for it instead of calling it a partial Kropke that happens to have no black dots in it. So what can we infer? It's yet again a somewhat difficult puzzle that is going to have to have a lot of work at the beginning because we don't have any starting digits at all. Well, let's start at this box. We can infer something from this. If this must be 1 away from this, then this can't be 1. We can just start with that, because 1 would have to be 2 here, and then also 2 here. Can't have 2s in the same rows or in the same box, and so that can't be it. By the same logic, it can't be 9, because 9 would have to be 1 away, so it would have to be 8 here and 8 here, and that's not possible. Now, if it was 2, then this could be 3, and this could be 1. But there's no way this can be 1. In fact, we can take just a moment to just ignore that. We know that 1 and 2 are not viable here. The smallest number that's possibly here, maybe it would be easier just to mark these instead of negatively marking them, would have to be 3 with a 2, 1. Then it can go up all the way to 9. So 3 through 9. Okay. But if we go back here, if this was a 2, then one of these would have to be 1 and the other would have to be 3. So we know it's not a 2 either. If this was a 4, then one of these, let's ask if it was a 3. If this was a 3, then one of these would have to be 4 and then one of these would have to be 2. That's still not a possibility. If it was a 4, one of these could be a 3 and one of these could be a 5. So 4 is our first possibility. And from that, it gives us 6 out of 9 possibilities that we can fill in that spot. Now, I don't think these two are going to help us particularly well yet in Synergize. I think they're, and I bet this block here is not going to particularly do us much good. What I want to engage with this here is if I was to put this as a 1, then this would have to be a 2. Let's see. Turn off the multi-selector. And then this would have to be a 3. This is all just pure speculation on my part. And then if that was a 3, then the sum here would have to be something that it cannot be. It would have to be 2 plus 1 plus 0. And even if it was just 2 spots instead of 3 squares that it's touching, a 2 right here or here or here would conflict with that one. So we know it's not 3. So let's start the other direction and just see what the minimum number of this could be. If we had a 1, a 2, that would give us 3, and then another 3. The minimum number this could be would be 6. Okay. Then that would have to be 5 or 7. Actually, I don't think this could go in either direction, really. We do know that whatever this is has to be in the same positive direction, same direction as this. So it is 2 positive or 2 negative. It can't be 1 positive and then 1 negative, because then you would just hit back at that. So we should highlight that fact. I'm just gonna mark these to try and remember that that means something. That's weird. It got rid of the highlighting first. So this could be 6, 7, 8. It could be yeah, this one probably needs to be highlighted too, just so I see the full connection there. Even though that's really not doing anything more than what we're seeing here. We might as well, I guess, also just fill in all the other possibilities. But you could, I think, probably have a 9 here, and then go 8, and then go 7, and then figure out a way to get to 9 using not 9, 8, or 7 pretty easily. Could you get to 6, which is the minimum number, and go in the negative direction? Let's speculate here back on the 6, because we were saying it would be 1 plus 2 plus 3 to get to 6. And yeah, I didn't mark that right, but whatever. So if this went 5 and this went 4, that would be fine. If this went 7 and this went 8, that would be fine. If this was 9 and then that was 4 and 3 and 1, this could be 8, 7 still. So I think there is a lot of possibilities there. Too much to really mean anything. We can probably take what we've already learned and just apply it here. 6, 7, 8, 9. But then there's more logic to this, because if we were going to get to 9, can we? We don't have the calculation for possible combinations, which I could use right now. Can we have 2 consecutive numbers to equal 9 in 3 digits? 1 plus 2 would give us 3, and then that could be 6. So you can get 9 that way. And then 1 plus 2 could be 3. And that could be 5, and that could give you 8. Then 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 could give you 7. Since not all digits are shown, that's still possible that this might be a 3 and this might be a 4. But 6 actually I don't think will work. No, it can. Very easily. 1 plus 2 plus 3. Alright, so This isn't telling me much yet. And so from that same logic, we could say this is 6, 7, and 8. And we can also say this is 6, 7, and 8. So we've got this quadrant here, which could be an X of 6s and 7s, or 6s and 8s, or 6s or 9s, or 7s and 8s, or any possible combination really there. Or it could just be all 4 different numbers. Inherently, if all of these were in the same box, we would know for a fact that that would be a quadruple, and that would eliminate 6, 7, and 8 from that entire box. I'm seeing something here, though. If this digit was 1, then this would have to be 2, this would have to be 3, and then this would have to be 4 for a 9. If this digit was 1, then this would have to be a 2, and this would have to be a 3, and this would have to be a 4 for 8. If this digit was a 3, then this would have to be a... Well, if this was a 3, and then this was a 2, and this was a 1, and this was then a 4, 3, 1, 4 gets us back to 8. If this was a 4, then this could be 3 or 4, or no, this could be 5, and then 4 here, 3 here, and then could be 1 or 2. Let's just apply some basic knowledge here then. Yeah, we had already figured this out. We know at least 1 and 9 can't be here, because you can't go in both directions, and that's not what I was thinking about at all. I was thinking about the totality of the possible numbers in the box. If this was 8, then this would have to be 7. So 8 and 7, or I mean, if this was 8, this would have to be 7 at the lowest, which would be 15, so we can also say it's not 8. If this was 7, then the lowest number could be 6, which would be 13, so it can't be 6. If it was 6, the lowest number would be 5, can't be that. If it was 5, lowest number could be 4, that's 9, that's still too short. So the only possibilities here are 2 and 3. Yeah. If this is 3, the lowest number here could be 2 for 5. And then you can add 1 to get to 6. But it can't be 1, because this can't be 2 and this can't be 2. It could be 2, because this could be 3, and then this could be 1. So what am I selected on? Nothing. 2, 3 being marked there. We'll go ahead and clean up our pencil marks, and then that inherently means we can select these two and make them 1 4s, which inherently means that if a 1 is here, it won't be there. So I still think you probably don't have that much more limiting you. We could certainly mark what can't be here. And be very quick about that. 2 plus 1 plus 6 will get you 9. So 6 is a possibility, but 7, 8, 9 are not. And then we can also say that a 1 and a 4 can't be here. Which then, if we do that, then there is a small possibility of a 3 or a 2. But then also 5 or 6. And that is it. And at some level, then you could just probably make a quadruple as far as what is available here. And then it could be 2 or 3 or 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9. But then specifically here, you know it can't be 1 plus 9. Could be 1 plus 8 though. And 1 plus 6, 1 plus 7 will get you 8, 1 plus 6 will get you 7, 1 point plus 5 will get you 6, 1 plus 3 will get you 4, 1 plus 2 will get you 3, which means every single other possibility, because this could be a 1, is possible. This is an exact mirror, so without expelling any more information or energy, I think everything is exactly the same. And if everything's the same, then yeah, assuming we're right here, which I'm pretty sure we are, is there some possibility here that this could have been 4? 4 plus this would have been 5. No, there's no possibility. So then we have a 2-3 pair here, which means that can't be 2-3. Also can't be 1-4. We have a 1-4 pair here, which would get rid of 1-4s there and there. If that had already happened. And I really wish I could just copy and paste at this point. Although, in fairness, I've not felt that to be necessary for any other situation. So the multi-select and label is good enough. It seems like you could almost infer a number in the middle here just by what is possibly missing. Let's see. I feel like ever since I started doing this series, I've had a lot of stomach growling. Probably because I'm going quiet, maybe just a little bit more than usual. Or maybe it's just a timing coincidence. Yeah, since everything is reflected here, we could take this further if we could figure out something here and something here. We could probably figure out something here. like this one and this one, we know best case scenario is one could be a 1 here and a 2 here. So the best case scenario is that this would be 3. And if we figured out a 1 and a 2 is here, then we'd have to have a like 3 and a 4 here, which would mean the minimum was 7 in that case. You can also, I suppose, mark what can't realistically be here. 9 plus 1 won't work. 8 plus 1 could give us 9. So 9s are the only thing that aren't allowed in that spot. We know this could be 1, this could be 2, and this could be 3. But what can't be these numbers? Can't be 9. Couldn't be 8 plus 1 plus another 1. 7 plus 2 would be 8. 9 plus 1 is 10, so that's over. 6 plus 2 is 7. 8 plus 1 is 9, so 6 would be a possibility. So yeah, not 7, 8, or 9. Now, I have a knee-jerk reaction here as I'm drinking water and thinking about this, that I was about to say that these two can't be 1 or 9. But they can. They totally can. This could be 1, 2, or 1, 2, or 9, 8, or 9, 8. That's only the case when you're touching 2 dots that the number can't be 1, 9. And a lot of it seems like once we get the digits in, we are just going to be doing some basic Sudoku. Everything, I think, tells me that there's nothing more to do here. Let's ask this question then. What is the maximum number we could have here? It could be 9, because you could have an 8 and 1, and because you can have a 1 and a 2, it can be 3. So it should be every number between 3 and 9. That's a possibility. And then what numbers can't be on this line? Can't be 9, but it could be an 8, 1. So we're eliminating a lot of possible 9s. But we would have to eliminate a few more 9s in some box, probably this box, or maybe this box, to figure out if there was something common to that. Do we have possibly a hidden triplicate? No, I don't think I see one, but what I can do is we can make some more negative inferences. If we have a 1-4 pair here, then a 1-4 also can't be in any of those sections, which maybe that limits you down to something. I don't know what though. Seems like you could have a 2 and 3 here, and then a 1, and that would be 6 still. And the 2, 3 here and the 2, 3 here is not gonna work. Suppose we can remove the possibility of 4 here. Maybe we should just go ahead and mark those as not being doable due to these pairs. Or maybe we should just go ahead and just colorize all these pairs. What is the next step, I wonder? Let's read the rules and just make sure we're reminded on what the variants are here. We have the arrow sudokus. It'd be kind of hard to forget that. We have partial crop keys. We're not forgetting that. And that's it. In classic Sudoku, of course. There is a parallel to these two and these two. That obviously they're in the same line, so they can't be the same numbers. The same would be true for these two and these two, and these two and these two. So it does. Same also would be true for like this and many other numbers here. That's getting down to the basic way Sudoku works. So there must be a case here where we're going to have to just try every scenario on the of possibilities. That's got to be it. We're gonna have to just speculate. Increasingly, I've had to do this, but it does seem like that's the case. So let's mark this correctly. So if this was 9 and this was 8 and 7, then how do we get to a 9 without using an 8? Very easily. With 3 digits, there's no way to get to a 9 using an 8. So I don't think any of these digits would affect anything here. If this was a 7, an 8, then, and this was 7 and 6, is there a way to get to an 8 not using a 7? I think pretty easily. 1, a 2, and a 5. If this was a 7, and this was 6 and 5, as opposed to it being 7, 8, 9, which we think pretty much already know that would work. If this is 7, 6, 5, can I get to a 7? 1 and 2 and 4 gets you to 7, not interfering. So pretty much I think the only thing we may find out here is that 6 must be then 7, 8 if this happens to be a 6. Because if 6 was instead a 5, 4, then how do we get a 6? 1, 2, and 3. Nope, there's no interference between these two at all. So this is not the next step. That's going to be part of a solution far, far in the future. And things like a 5 in the middle here, there's no way to really speculate on that, but I do see the 5 has to be here. Not exactly though, a 5 could be here or a 5 could be here. You could maybe put out some information here. If a 1 and a 2 can't be here, yeah, because the bare minimum of this would be 3, and a 1 and a 2 can't be here because a 2 would then have to be 1 and 3, and neither one of these can be that. And is there a scenario where this was like a 4, a 5, and a 6, so that there still would be a 3? Yeah. So all we can red dot here are 1s and 2s. How? How in the world then do we fill in this column? No, I don't red dot them. That's wrong. I should be marking them, black dotting them if anything. 1s and 2s have to be in this column. And then that would mean a 1 and 2 isn't going to be I mean, that doesn't help us too much because a 1 could be over here somewhere. Not here, I suppose. Not here. Because we already have the 1, 4. And probably not. The 2, 3 pair actually does mean that one of these would be 2 and one of these would be 3, and then would potentially pair with this. Interesting. Is there just a colorful pattern emerging to this? This might be a 2. I'm gonna say let's not mark that yet, though that may not be the case. I may be jumping to a conclusion. Yeah, the fact that there might be a 1 and a 2 on this side and then none of those over there doesn't help me. The fact that there might be nothing over here doesn't mean I can eliminate 1s and 2s from the other spots. There might be a 1 on this side and a 2 on this side, or vice versa. So that means really nothing. And these two pieces aren't going to matter until I think fairly late in the game, but it does probably imply that either this cube or this cube is going to be, I mean this box or this box is going to be one of the last that we start to make progress in. I suppose negative inference of a 1, 4 here might be due. And frankly, we might as well just add it here. Yeah. And see, I guess what I kind of want to have happen here is either I can fill in all the numbers, which won't tell me much, or I could ask for a smart hint and see if there's something that I'm just blatantly missing. We can fill in everything but 1 and 4 in that box, and at least that means something. And we could fill in everything but 1 and 4 in this box. But what can we take from this? I don't think that there's a connection between like these squares and this square, because this could be 1, 2, 3, and then this could be 4 or 5. Yeah, 5 plus, what we at? 5, 6, 7, 9, 8, 7, 8, 7, 6, 6, 5, 4. The lowest number here is 4. 6, 5, 4. The highest number would be 9, 8, 7. So this may at some point limit the higher digits, but I don't know if it limits the higher digits in a great way, because if this was 7, I could do 8, 1 to get to 9. If this was 8, I mean, it can't be, can't be 8. No, it could be 6, 7, 8. Yeah. I guess the only thing it couldn't be is 9. Nope, it could be that too. 7, 8, 9. Yeah, there's enough combinations plus 1 to get to 9. And even if this was a super low number, which it can't really be, that still probably wouldn't affect this. If we could clear what this and this was, that would probably help quite a bit. Guess we can mark these digits as being everything except for 9. We do know that to be the case. I suppose we could just fill in all the possibilities here. Might as well. So we know it can't be 1. But it could be 2, 3. Can't be 4. Could be 5, 6. Can't be 7, 8, 9. Same combination here. And then same combination here, except for this one can be 1, 2, 3, and it can be 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. And then these two are 2, 3, 5, 6s. Just selected totally the wrong boxes there. We would need like a quadruple for this to work, or we would need to get it down to a triple. If we could get it down to a triple, then that would eliminate the possibilities of all the other boxes and all the other cells in that box. So almost certainly, in the relatively distant future, there is going to be a reduction on this puzzle or this puzzle down into a triple. I suppose, while we're at it, we can also just fill in every single possibility there, and I could have also highlighted that to do the same thing. Six, 7, 8, 9. At least there's a little bit more information to reduce the digits a little bit. But that's pretty much every case here. Every single one of these boxes has one or two things that can't be in the box. Or then everything else could be in the box. We could go ahead and mark what can't be in the box here. That seems to be the level of progress here. We know it's not 1. We know it's not 2. We know it's not 3. It could be 5 and 4, but then we know that this wouldn't be 4. This could be 6, this could be 7, this could be 8, this can't be 9. Going upward, this could be 6, 5, 4. Could it be 5? 7, 6, 5, yes. 8, 7, 6, yes. 9, 8, 7, yes. So then the question is, can I just get to an 8 or a 9 here? 6, 7, 8. Yes. 7, 8, 9, yes. Okay. So the possibilities on this one are 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then the possibilities here are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I guess we can fill in these two. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 as a possibility. And then I do believe this one and this one, this one, this one, this one, these three, this one, 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 and then this one, and this one, and this one, and then this one, and this one, and these three, and these three. Yeah, I do believe there's no limitations at all on the possible digits in these boxes. So we just have to fill in every possible option. And then we have a fully pencil marked puzzle at 49 minutes into this puzzle. And I guess we can pretend and look at like basic Sudoku to see if there's any possibility of anything standing out. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna see anything. I almost wonder if I should look at the written hint instead. Because there might very well be a trick here. Some tricky, deeper logic. And with everything marked here, we are weirdly getting different kinds of shapes in some of these selections, which is not super surprising considering how, well, it's mostly just the 9s that definitely looks like this could be a cat. Let's speculate here. If this was 6, then this can't be 6 and this can't be 6. But that doesn't inherently mean this has to be a 6, does it? If this was a 6-7 pair, for instance, then this could be an 8-9 pair. But if this was a 6-8 pair, then this could be a 7-9 pair. The outies in this row. If this was 4 that happened just to be in the same row, I could derive something from that. But with the options in their current state, I don't think I can derive anything from it. I just don't see what I'm supposed to figure out here. And inherently, this is kind of the problem with a lot of the more difficult Sudoku puzzles here, is that it can be just that cryptic intro move. See what it smart hint says. It says, could not generate a hint, please check handwritten hints for help. Yep. It honestly feels like they're intentionally trying to get smart hint to work, but the programming is just not there, and so they're stuck in the middle where they have handwritten hints for puzzles. I will say, so far in the sample puzzles, I haven't run into a puzzle that didn't have hints, so I assume every single puzzle does have handwritten hints. It would really suck if you bought the DLC and then only 1 out of every 5 puzzles had a hint around it. Alright, so hint number 1, handwritten hint number 1 says the arrows in box 1 and 3 must add up to at least 30, but the relevant circles have a maximum value of 33. So I was not expecting to use the secret to get to that spot. I don't know if this really is the secret. Let's only look at one box to begin with, and let's just see if we can confirm why it must up to at 30. At least 30. If this was 1 and 2, that would be 3. Then a 3 here would be 3. So then 1, 2, 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. Okay. So how are we getting from the distance of 12 if I add up all the total numbers including the sum to 30? It's not some kind of secret rule that says 4 cells in a box, like these 4, must have a minimum. There is a minimum there, but if we were to think just generally in classic Sudoku, without any variant modifying things, a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4 would be your absolute minimum, which would give you 10. This combination here gives me what would be 12. So if this is 12, then maybe we have to consider this group too to get to that number. Which, let's think about that. If we think about both of these, and I would frankly never have been inclined to consider both of these, even though they are on the same line at this point. If this was 1 and this was 2, then this would have to be 4 and this would have to be 3. So we know this is 12 over here. 4 and 3 gives you 7. And then a 2 here would give you 8, 9. And that seems like that's the bare minimum. And we're really just running the bare minimum scenario because there is a possibility that this could be 1 plus 3. But bare minimum, this would be 7 plus that would be 9. 9 and 9 is 18. 18 plus 12 does get us to 30. So I at least have gotten to this comma so far in this hint. The relevant circles have a maximum value of 33. Okay. So we just got 33 out of 30. Let's then run the scenario, I guess, as to what the maximum values could be. We'd want this to be 9, so we would want this to add up in some way to 9. And maybe there's a way to do that. Or maybe it would be easier to almost guess it, because if this was 9 and you just doubled it to 18 and this was 8 and you doubled that to 16, 18 and 16 added together would be 34. So something there is wrong, or one number off, or my math is poor, which my math is poor. So we're going to have to think the full scenario through. 4 and 3 and 2 gives you 9. So 9 and 9 and 18. And then if this was 4 and 3, this would have to be 2 and 1. So 2 and 1 here gives you 3. And this was 4 and 3 and 5 to give you 4 and 2. 1, 3, 7 here. 2 then 1 and 2 would be 6. To get to 9 can't be 9. It'd have to be 5 to get to 9. So why can this not be 5, 1, 2 to get to the 8 and get you to 8? Again. It seems like that's what they're trying to say, is that this could be a 9, this could be an 8, 8 and 8, 8 doubled for the total, and the numbers added up would be 16, 9 doubled would be 18, take 2 from 16 and add it to 18, and you have 20 plus 14, and then add 14 to 20 and you get 34. So why am I one number off? It's got to be a case, and either I'm going to have to calculate it or I'm going to have to go and blame Faith, that the 3, 4, and 2 to get to 9 means that the 4, 3, or the 1, 2, and 6 wouldn't work. 1, 2, and 5 does seem like it would work though. We didn't use a 5 in any of this. Perhaps there's maybe just some mathematical reason why this is one off. Or perhaps, and very possibly, since we've seen it, or at least it seemed to me in my brain-addled moments, like these hints are sometimes mistyped, miswritten. The problem here, though, and we're just going to have to go to the next handwritten hint, is if we take this as true, that there is a range between 30 being the minimum value, which I agree with, and 33 being the maximum value, which I don't agree with. All that tells me is that there's a range of 3, maybe 4 in the difference. How do you take that information and do anything more with it? Do you play the secret and then add 15 and 15 and 15 together to then get 45, and then somehow subtract like 33 or 30 from 45 to then try and find the combination of every single other piece in this 9 by 3 grid? Let's try this. The central cell in row 4, column 5. Alright, so the first hint was to tell us to figure out that this could be 30 through 33 in a range. The second hint seems to have completely ignored and not continued the conversation and moved into the middle section here. It must be a 7 and 8. And those in row 2, column 2 here, and row 2, column 8 here, must be 2, 3, 4. Row, not this spot. Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing, right? The central cell in row 4, this is 4, column 5, must be a 7 and 8. How do we get to that logic? We already got this down from 2, 3, 4 to just 2, 3. probably because a 4 and a 5 wouldn't work here, but maybe it would work here because maybe this could be 4 and 5, and if this could be 4 and 3, maybe that would change something as a possibility. Or maybe this could be 4 and 5. No, this can't be 4 and 5. This could be 4, 3. And you could add 2 to that to get to 9 again. Right, well, let's mark that as saying that that can be 4. And then let's mark that as saying these can be 5. If that is the case, we have eliminated a lot of 1s and 4s in mistake. So it probably would be better to restore 1s and 4s as possibilities. And then would 4 be possible here? Now 1 wouldn't, but I could see a 1 and a 3, so that 2 could be possible. Okay. And if we're going to say we made a mistake here, we should also undo our mistake and get rid of the red markers. That's it, at the very least a little less visually distracting. And we need to also correct for that, and I guess correct for that. So we really are in just a very different position from where I was because I was making a mistake. But the beginning of this that says this must be 7, 8 still doesn't quite follow. Probably because I'm just not processing the real possibilities here. Why can this not be 1 and this 2 and this 3? And if this was 3, why can this not be 4? And then this be 5? And then this be 1 and 4? Yep. We need to continue to correct our mistakes here. Why must it be 7, 8? Well, we know it's not 9, so that shouldn't have been marked. We know this is not 1, so that shouldn't be marked. And it's saying it's 7 and 8. So what happens at 6 that makes it not viable? A 6 would make this 7, and then a 5, 2 seems like it could happen to make that 7, to make that 6, to make that 5, and a 1, 4 here. I guess can't happen because either 1 or 4 is there. I guess we're going to have to read further. It says this must be 7 and 8. I don't know why. Let's go past the and. And those in row 2, column 2, and 8. Row 2, column 2 and 8, these two. Must be 2, 3, 4. But if either of these were 2, then the rows 7 and 8 here then the column would be too large. So it's saying consider these possibilities. It's saying neither one of these can be 2 because we're having to consider all 4 of these arrows at the same time. And if this was 2, then this would be a 1 and a 3 as far as I can tell. And a 1 and a 3 and a 2 here, which still seems viable. Would still be just 6. If I eliminated 1s as a possibility, you couldn't have a 2 here. Then a 3 and a 4 would be 7 if this was a 2. And 7 could be 8 with 1 or 9 with 2. So once again, this is just leaping over a step as far as I'm concerned. Like, it definitely feels like the logic they are telling me here would need somebody to hold my hand a little bit more to explain it. Or I would need to just pull out a pencil and paper and try and write down the possibilities. Before we go to written hint number 3, let's just see if maybe we're in a better position since we changed things to get a smart hint. So hint 1 tells me that these must be a maximum of 33. In this situation now, I don't know if anything has changed enough that makes me really believe that. I guess I'm not 1 off now, so if this was a 1, 2, and then 4, that would get us to 6, and then, no, we're looking for maximum numbers here. So if this was a 9, however it was, and that was 18, and then this was an 8, and then that would be 16, that would be still 1 over. So there must be a reason why a 9 wouldn't work. Well, if this was 16 and then this was 14, that gives me 30. So if this is 18, what is 18 minus 33? How do we get to that number? Should be 15. You can't even get to 15 if this is 18. So this would have to be 17 somehow. And you can't get to an odd number. Yeah, you can't get to an odd number at all. As far as, yeah. This is just a fact of doubling whatever this total sum is, whether it's 6, 7, 8, or 9, whether it's an even or odd number. As soon as you double it, you're multiplying by 2, which means you will always get an even number. So, how you get an odd number and the maximum value is crazy to me. There's just no way. No way that could happen. There must be some math in it if this number is right that eliminates one possible combination, one unique combination. I don't know why the math would work that way. Anyways, moving on. The next hint didn't even really address that first hint. So let's go to written hint 3, and I feel like written hint 3 may very well just be several steps ahead of where I am. But there's nothing else I can do. I can't do a smart hint, and it's not like a basic Sudoku is going to help me. This is another one of these irritating puzzles where it's going to be 100% reliant on you being on the rails, understanding what the puzzle is asking you to solve, and in what order you're supposed to solve them. And if you get off the rails, these written hints are the only thing that can help you. Otherwise, it's just going to come down to me having to randomly guess. Both the row 1, column 3, and row 1, column 7 must include a 1. The maximum value in its connected circle right, so it's saying this and this must contain a 1. No, this and this and this and this. Yeah, which, yeah, we know that. It must contain a 1, must include a 1. Which we will probably be told this exact same hint again with it must include a 4. The maximum value within its connected circle will be 6. I'm missing the middle part of the sentence. So row 1 and 3, column 3, and row 1 and 3, column 7 must include a 1. So row 3, column 3 and 7, and row 3, column and 7 must include a 1. It's kind of just reiterating it, because the first part before the comma says, of these 4, there must be a 1. And that's not really true. Not all 4 of these are going to be a 1. Then after the comment saying these 2 must include a 1. Therefore, the maximum value in its connected circle will be 6. Why? Why? It makes no sense at all. Am I misunderstanding arrow rules? Numbers along the shaft must sum up to the number at the base. It seems pretty simplistic. It's not a case that like this 1 has to be then followed by a 2 or bigger, and that somehow would make this 6. Still can't do a smart hint. Just saying the maximum value here has to be 6. Why? What? Maybe the logic. Yeah, and this definitely needs to be explained. You have room here at 1080p resolution, and you certainly could just have me have a scroll bar if you needed to take up more room for text, to just expand a little bit here on what you're trying to say. Let's run a scenario here and see if we can figure out what the hint is trying to say. 1 here would make this have to be a 4 here. Then a 2 here would have to make this a 3 here. So 3 plus 4 would be 7. And then a 1 and a 2 here would be 3. Which gives me a 3 as a smaller number and a 7 as a larger number when it's saying the maximum value is 6. That being said, let's continue that scenario again and consider these spots also, because I think it is literally a case where I'm going to have to consider all 6 of these spots at the same time. A 1 here takes this and makes this a 4. Okay. Which takes this out of the way, makes this a 1, which takes this away, so this could be 1, this could be 1, 1, 4, 4. Okay. As far as the crosses go. That would eliminate 4 from anywhere else in the box, including here, and make this a 2, 3. So, from that, you know, one of these could be 2. If this is a 1, so 1 and 2 and 3 still seems viable. And then this would be 1, and then this would be 3, even though there's a 3 here. And then this would be 4. Then the possibility here would be that this would be a 1, and then we're saying that this would be a 3, so then this would have to be a 2. So 1, 2, and 4 here. 4 then can't have a 1 or 2 added to it. Then we said the 3 was here, but 4 could have a 3 added to it. But if 3 did have, if this had a 4, this would have to be 2, 4, 3. Goes to 7 again. Not a maximum of 6. So everything is relying here on this previous hint that I'm not able to wrap my brain around, and I guess I should have just had to trust it and said that this is right and that this can only be 7 or 8. This must be a 7 and 8 is all it says. No explanation. No explanation at all why it can't be 4, 5, or 6. I mean, nothing even on the map here that implies to me that there would be a reason why it can't be 4, 5, or 6. If it was that case, okay, let's ask the full spectrum of what would the numbers be here. If we were going for the smallest number, the 1, 2, and 3 here seems viable. So that doesn't inherently block this from being 3. A 1 and 3 and 4 would block this 4. A 5 could be 2 and 3. Still would let a 4 be here. A 6 could be 3. Not 3 and 3, 2 and 4. 2, 4, 6. Which would still let a 5 be here. I got nothing. I really have nothing at all. Seems like the possibilities of combinations in this always still let 4, 5, and 6 be. Here. So let's just see area of influence on this. This wouldn't be influencing it at all. The 1 and 2 should be in these sections, otherwise it's not influencing it at all. There's nothing in the box that's influencing it really. 3, 4, 5 seems very doable. I don't get it. I just don't get it. There's too many options here in these boxes if you're trying to get down to a triple, which maybe that would make some sense later. This probably does highlight that if I'm doing the negative markdown of numbers, the red numbering here, I just don't. I'm probably on the wrong path when I am doing the red numbering. Okay, so we just gotta do things that are maybe a little stupid. Let's say here that 1 and 4 cannot be in this just because of these boxes. Okay. So then if this was 1 and 2, this still could be 3. Then that would get rid of 1, so this could be 4 plus 2, which would be 6. Maximum value of the connected circle, it says is 6. But if this was 1 and 2 and 3, and then this was 5 and 2, you could get to 7. Or if this was 4 and 5, you could get to 9. So I'd have to eliminate 5, 6, 7, and 8 somehow in these numbers if I was supposed to reach the conclusion that way. This must be 7 and 8. Then these must be 2, 3, 4. But if either were 2, then row 7, and row 8 in that column would be too large. So something about the possible combinations says if this is 2, then this would be too large. This one would be 3 plus 5, and then something says this can't be a 1. I don't know why. 3 plus 5, 1, I guess would work here, but maybe wouldn't work also over here. Yeah, that must be what it is. That must be it completely, is that you just had to run a scenario in your mind, considering all of these boxes, and we may just constantly have to consider that. Even if that's the case, though, I still have no idea why this has to be a 7 and 8. And if this has to be a 7 and 8, assuming this is just not wrong, then 8, 9 is possible and 6 is possible, but 3, 5, and 4 are not possible. Which weirdly is creating yet another box that is limited to 6, 7, 8, 9 now. Which it does seem like we're just gonna end up having 6, 7, 8, 9s everywhere. Possibly here. Possibly here. Even now, still doesn't feel like I've entered enough information, though, to reach this concept where the maximum value in the connected circle would be 6. Row 3, column 3 and 7 must include a 1. I'm probably not looking at the dots now. Maybe the logic has broken down now. Row 3, column 3 and 7. Ooh, I haven't been looking at the right thing at all. No wonder I can't solve these puzzles. I'm just looking totally at the wrong things. Okay. 3 and 7 is what I was supposed to be looking at this whole time. And the reason why I'm supposed to be looking at 3 and 7 previous step eliminated this from being a 2, which then eliminates these from being 1s and possibly elevates them to being 2s. So everything is wrong there. Every single thing. That means one of these combinations hint 1, kind of useless, but maybe now we go back and do the math and see if this tells me something more. If this is 3 and 2, then that would give me 5. To have a 1 here would give me 6. 6 and 6 would be 12. That's the minimum value. If this was 3 and 4 and 1, then this could only be 8. You can't have a 9, can you? 3 and 4, 7 plus 2 could be 8, 9. Okay. 3 and 4 plus 2 to get to 9. That gets you your 18. And then if this was 3 and 4 up here, your best bet here would be 2 and 4, which would give you 6. And then 2 and 4 and 3. Still seems like it could be 9. But then 9 couldn't be here, could it? So we have to target 8. If we had already gotten 9 here by getting 3 and 4 and 2. So targeting 8. Kind of doesn't matter how you even target 8, but let's just say it was 2 and 4. That would have to be your way to get to 6. And if this is 2, this can't be 2. And then 2 and 4 plus 3 would get you 9, which is can't be done. So it'd have to be 2 and 4 and 1 at that point. And since this is already taking up the 9, 2 and 4 and 1 gives you 7. So 18 plus 14, then take the 2 from 14 to 18 to give you 20. This is weird math, is how I'm doing it. And then you would have 12 added to 20, which would give you 32, which still does not get to a maximum of 33. Yeah. So I still can't resolve the math to get to 33 for whatever that even matters. It does seem like we're closer this now that the number's right. This must be a 7-8. How did we figure out that this must be a 7-8? Well, I guess with the new possibilities of 2, 4, 5 here, 2 plus 1 can't be 3, and 4 plus 1 be 5. Yeah. In fact, pretty much, I think I guarantee that, well, this could be 2 and this could be 4, but you're going to have to make up the difference in these spots so that one of these equals to 6 and one of these equals to 7, or one of these equals to 7 and one of these equals to 9, so that there's a digit in the middle, and the digits in the middle are 7 and 8. Okay. I don't know how I would have really come to this conclusion, because I don't think I would have ever even looked to check for that. But I do think I understand hint number 2 now. And it says if either one of them were 2, let's see, row 7 and row 7, let's find row 7. Row 2, column 2, and row 2, column 8. It's back to this, must be 2, 3, 4. We got to that, but then we removed that they couldn't be 2, because 2 here would make row 7 and 8 in that column. These rows too large. because this would be 2 and 4, and I guess maybe 3. Which, even if there was a 1 here, then there would have to be a 5 here. And then we'd have to add 2 to the 5 and the 1, which would get us to 8. And probably couldn't do it also, I'm considering that. Alright, whatever. Then it kind of jumps around and says this spot, this spot, this spot, and this spot must include a 1. So therefore, row, all of these must include a 1. So for some reason, between those 4, I guess there's just no possible way that's not the case. So from that, we know that one of these must include a 1, which will possibly limit the spread here of one of these down to being 6, because a 5 plus a 1 can be 6 as the maximum value. Okay, so if we did 5, 1, 6 here, then this couldn't be 1 or 5. So you could have 4, and then you could have 3. 4 and 3 would be 7. And so it looks like the other one can be 6, but one of them is going to be 7. Which maybe I don't need any more hints now that the hints have held my hand. Well, not even held my hand, they've just told me the answers. Here. If the biggest number here is 516, then this has to be a 7, doesn't it? Either this is going to be a 6 or this is going to be a 6. And since we somehow figured out that this is a 7, 8, let's check if that is correct by marking this as a 7. Okay. Next step is the question. What in the world is possibly the next step? If this was 6, 8, 9, then we'd have a triplicate here. We can, I guess, eliminate 9s as a possibility. We now know that's a 6, 8. That means we can select these and remove 6 and 8s as a possibility. 1, 2 to get to a 3 still seems viable. Almost to the point where triplicate would work. And we're almost to the point where if this 9 would work, this can't be a 9, however, can it? So that's 3, 5, 4. That means there is no other place where a 9 can be, unless I was wrong at some point. And no, I'm not wrong. 9 can't be on this arrow and can't be on this arrow. 9 could be here and a 9 could be here. So we have 3 places where a 9 must be in one of those. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 5 spots. If we could figure out where the 9 went. 1, 3 here. We could solve the rest of this. That would help. Maybe we could constrict ourselves a little bit smaller? No, seems like you could do 1 8 to get to a 9, and you could do 1 2 still to get to a 3. If you did 1 2 to get to a 3 here, then this couldn't be a 3, but this could be, see, no 1 and no 2 here. This would be 3 4. 1 2 3 here, 3 4 here, 7. So then potentially a 3 and a 7 between these two. So I guess we can mark that as not being 3. Can we be certain about that? No, I don't think we can, because I think there is possible that you could go 3, or you could go like 3 here, 4 here, so there isn't a 3 in the box, and then 7 here. Okay. Then you could go 1 here, and then 8 here, and then 9 here. Yeah. Yeah, you could do any kind of possibilities of numbers there, can't you? There's a lot of possibilities. Suppose we could eliminate 8 as possibilities, because that's not going to work. Can we possibly get a smart hint? Nope. So let's read along with hint number 4, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is exactly what I just did. 106 minutes into this puzzle, and I've made multiple mistakes and not really figured out anything on my own. So a 1 in row 3, column 3 and 7 must be with a 5 in row 3, column 2 or 8. So they're basically explaining what they said before. And 1 in column 3 and 7 must be with a 3 4 on its arrow. No, wait, I think it changed the focus there. The sentence goes, this one needs to be with a 5, or this one needs to be with a 5. And because we know that there's 1 here, and somehow, I mean, we don't really know, they said that there must also be a 1 here. If this is 1 5, then this would be 1. So the 1 in row 3 7, these spots must be with a 3 4 pair. Why can it not be with a 2 3 pair to get to 6? If this was 1, then this would have to be 1 5, which would mean nothing really. 2 5 means this could be 4 or 5. If this is 4 or 5 at that point, then this still can be 3 or 4. I probably got this marked wrong here, saying that this spot here must be with a 3 4 pair on its arrow. It can't be with a 2-4 pair. 1 plus 2 plus this would be 7. And then, for some reason, a 2 or 4 here interferes with that. I don't get it. Really don't get it. Let's just move to the next sentence, I guess. Row 1 in columns 2 and 8 are 3, 4. Wow. So I'm just totally wrong. Well, that explains a lot. And then rows 2, so we had to get to hint 4 to be told you've just put in the wrong information completely. Now row 2, 3 and 7 let me make sure I just put in the right information. Yes, we were putting in that row 1 and 2 and in column this and this. So these 4 numbers are all 3 4s. Not 2 4s. Which is not even possible. I probably got the 2 4 up here by just using the white dot, and the strategy the hint is using to get to the 3 4s is just completely different. So all of these are 3 4s, which would eventually eliminate these 4s, but let's not do that yet. Then what they're saying now is that row 2, column 3 and 7 must be an 8 9. And I can see where that's getting from now that we have this different information. A 3 4 being the only option, plus a 1 at best gives you an 8, plus a 2 it gives you a 9. We now also know that these are 1 2. I didn't even have to read to get to that part. So these are 1 2s only. And then what else can we take from this information before I read further? I don't see anything more. But then I am also just beaten down. If this is an 8 9 and this is an 8 9, maybe this means this is a 6 7 and this is a 6 7 pair, but maybe it means nothing of the sort too. The 3 4s here, row 3 3 7s would have the 4s removed from that, which would make them 2 5s. But reading the last bit of this, it says row 3 column 3 and 7 would then have to be 1 and 6, since this is 6 8 now. Yeah, A 2 plus a 6 would give you 8, and then the other one has to be 1 and 5. Yeah. So that is a long and not completely understood process of elimination there. Let's take a moment at least though and get rid of 1s and get rid of 3s and get rid of anything else. Can we get rid of? I see 2 1s here. I see 2 3s here. We need both numbers to be in the box. We can get rid of 4s also. I'm just looking by box. It's mirrored, so I don't have to look at both boxes at the same time. Okay. And then in this row, we can get rid of 2s. And that's it. In this row, we can get rid of 8s and 9s. And in this row, we can get rid of 6s and 5s. Which I don't know if that inherently helps me anywhere, but at least it's getting somewhat close to a more reasonable number of possibilities instead of just filling in the boxes with every single possibility. I can get rid of 3 and 4s and 8s and 9s in this middle row, same reason. I can get rid of 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s in this row. I can get rid of 1s and 6s and 2s and 5s in this row. Yeah, that's not particularly reasonable starting point, but it's better than just 1 through 9. I did spend the extra time filling in all the numbers, but I made mistakes too, so what can I really learn from there if I make a mistake? 3s and 4s can go away from these columns, which that may significantly change the equation on these now. A 1 and a 2 and a 3 still seems very viable here, and I just don't think this arrow and this arrow being mirrored connects quite the same way to each other, the way these arrows affect these arrows, which affect this central point, which inherently this is the linchpin, the keystone of the arc that you have to work on to solve all of that, probably further. But it's also mirrored, so we're not going to be able to solve anything in this puzzle, are we? Not a single thing is going to be solved in this puzzle until we get an offset number here. Yeah, or here. These are the secondary linchpins, I guess. The next part of the gate. And there's no way so far to find this number or find these numbers. I could potentially find that there's only one number here, but I don't know how I would do that to make it be this number. It's almost certainly this. And considering this arrow, like 1 and 2 and 3 still seems very viable in that column. Let's consider these scenarios. A 2 plus a 6 here as a scenario, one possibility. We should mark that actually. Just say this is a 2, 6 pair. It's not going to really work that way, is it? Get rid of the hyper mark here and get rid of the 6 hyper mark here, and then get rid of the 2 here, and then the 6 there. Those are the two combinations. That'll help me better. I can also, I think, let's see, probably need to mark just 2 of these in one way and 2 of these in another. Hypermark a 3 up here and 4, and then hypermark a 4 up here and then get rid of the 3. Not the 3, get rid of the 4. So almost the same thing. And then a 3-4 combination here at any point. Could be 1 or 2 to add up to 8 or 9, so we don't need to mark those differently. So if this was a 2-6, then this can't be a 2. So then it would be 1 and 5 as the next option, seemingly, assuming I've eliminated the possibilities correctly. 1 and 5 would give you 6, and then the possibility here can't be 6 because this would be 6. So can we get from 6 to 7 with 1 and 5? No. So it would have to be 8 is the minimum with 2 and 6 in this spot. 2, 6 plus 3. Okay. 8 could then go down to 7, could go down to 6. So that's probably not part of the consideration here. If this is 2, 6, then this would be 1, 5. That eliminates this 5 as a possibility. But then you could do 1, 2, and 3 here, and 6 here. Did we put the 1 here? Kind of doesn't even matter. If we put a 1 here, we could put a 1 here, or either way. So 8 and 6, 6 and 8 seem very doable. I'm not sure if they're the only possibilities there. If you did 6 and 8 here, then that may influence that here. Yeah. So that doesn't seem to tell me anything. other than 7 might be hard to reach. And these might be 6 and 8 pairs, but they might not. Alright, well, what I'm going to do is I need to take a break, whether for better or worse. So I'm going to do that. Then we'll come back with fresh eyes after that point and see if we can make any progress. More likely, we'll try and use a hint. We'll just move down the hints. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. And yeah, just having taken a break and now forget everything I was doing. Which is probably perfectly fine. Because it probably doesn't matter that much. The hope was going to be that a smart hint could help me. Or that I could see something new. And I guess we could give it the old college try. And just see if maybe by just basic Sudoku rules there is some column or box that would highlight. I mean, almost certainly no. Like, there's just way too many spots where anything could be anything. And certainly I would like the puzzle to let me at times move things around and try a different style, a different way to solve the Sudoku puzzles. I have to remind myself that this isn't just a naked 1 here. It is either 1 or 6. I wonder if maybe I should leave the 1 and 6 here when I mark like that, and then just highlight the 6, and then maybe even red the 1. Yeah, I just kind of wish there was a way to label pairs. If we were going to do some coloring, I guess we could mark this as a pair and mark these as a pair. But I don't think the coloring would help me any. An 8 and a 1 makes this unable to be a 9. I somehow determined this couldn't be a 9. I may very well have determined this couldn't have been a 9 on some kind of faulty logic. And it may very well be that it can be a 9. Yeah, just looking at basic Sudoku, to no one's surprise, that's not going to help me. Let's see if we have a smart hint. Can't generate smart hints. Alright, so we never were able to figure this out, where how you could get to 33. It seems like 18 plus 16 would get you to 34. Not 33. Regardless, it doesn't even get used. Like the connection from that hint to this hint, where it says the central cell in row 4 and 5 The central cell in rows 4 and 5 must be 7, 8. No, row, not 4 and 5, row 4, column 5. That one must be a 7, 8. We didn't really get the explanation as to how that was the case. Then we eventually got to the point that it was saying all of these had to be 1s, all 4 of these spots. And then that eventually got to the point where it said one of these 2 has to be a 1, which reduced the possibility there and went around in circles. So have we done hint 5? Row 8, column 3. No, so we didn't do that. Did we do hint 4? So the 1 in row 3, column 3 or 7 must be with a 5 in 2 or 8. And the 1 in row 1, column 3 and 7 must be with a 3-4 on its arrow, either here or reverse. Now, row 1 and column 2 and 8 are 3-4, and row 2 in column 3 and 7 must be 8-9. Row 1, column 3 and 7 are 1-2. We got that far. And then row 3, column 3 and 7 are 1-6. So yeah, we spiraled all around to get to this spot. So then this next hint from all of that should be connected to it. So instead, it's jumping all the way down to row 8, column 3. These 3 numbers, which might be affected by this somehow. The answers, it says row 8, column 3 in particular, not all 3 of them, just this one, I was wrong, is either 6 or 8. No, it's saying this could be 6, 7, and 8. So we are at that point. I understand that. So either 6 or 8 is the even digit in row 8 and 9's column 3. One of these is going to be the even digit. So what does that mean? Why would that even matter? One of these would be an even digit, one of these would be an odd digit. And run row 2 and 3. Column 3. This one and this one cannot be 6 and 8. Oh, interesting. They're saying you would have had to consider these 2 possibilities. That you would have a 6 here and a 5 here if that was a solution, which would mean that can't be a 6. Or you would have a 7 here and then a 6 here, and then that couldn't be a 6. Or you have a 7 and an 8 here, and then that can't be an 8. So does that mean this has to be 9 and this has to be 1? Or just that one of these excludes the other? Because if this was 7, 8, then this could be 6. And we don't have to consider 9 and 1 because that wouldn't really be eliminated by much. If a 9 was here and an 8 was here, then, well, wait, this can't be 9 and 8, can it? Before we go any further. If the only possibilities, and if we're correct about this only being an 8 or 9, if this was an 8, then this can't be a 9. This just can't be a 9, can it? This would be a 9, this would be an 8. That would eliminate both possibilities. So let's get rid of that 9 and mark it. Then this 8 could go 7, can't go 9, and then 10, so it has to go. And it can't go 8 to 9, and then 8 again, can it? No, I don't see really any reason why it couldn't go 8 to 9, 8. So this could be 8, 9, but it could also be but if this was 8, 9, and then 8, that still eliminates both options, so that's not a possibility. But this could be 8, 7, and then this could be 9. So we've got it down to like 8, 6, 7. And 7, 8 still seems like it's fine. Seven, 8 would only eliminate 1. 7, 6 would eliminate that. But still give us a possibility. Are we going to have to consider the combinations now more? 6, 5 would just eliminate one combination. 6, 7 would eliminate one combination. So was I right at least about 9 not really being viable? And it, yeah, and that's not the same case over here. We're breaking the mirroring now, finally. 9, 8 eliminates both possibilities. Yeah. 8, 7. This 1, 2. Would this work? Yeah. Nothing's changed there. We would have to then start considering maybe combinations to get to 8, 7, 8. Frankly, I think I just used a handwritten note to tell me if that was correct or not. You could go to 7, 8 and you could get to a 9 here. Still, also, you could go 5, 6 and you could get to a 4 here. So let's read the last part about this. Either 6 or 8 is the even digit in row 8 and 9, column 3, and an even digit eliminates one of these, either an 8 here or an 8 here somewhere. Eliminates the 8, or 6 here eliminates the 6, and a 7 here somehow how does a 7 not change things? Like, if this was 7, seems like this could still be 6 and 2, and this could be 8, and maybe there's no way to make a 7 without some other digits. This is a 7 that went down to a 6, that would eliminate the 6. This is a 7 that goes up to the 8, that eliminates an 8. Okay, so that still does, with this pairing, mean these two can't be connected. Right, so how do we even mark that? Like, no clue. Yeah, just select, I guess, one color and the other color. Or maybe you try and elevate a 9 here and then remove the 9. I still don't think there'd be a way that I would think of that. Only way I think this would work possibly is if we did something like that and make kind of a nautical flag. And even that, I don't think marks things particularly well. See, this would just be a solid color mode instead of split colored mode. But what would the next step be to this thought? If 6 and 8 can't be here, then there's one scenario where this would be 9, and then this would be 6, and this would be 8, and this would be 1, and it would then affect this in some way, but possibly not enough. If this was 8 to 1, then that would affect this, and it would affect this, making this a 9 and a 6, which might affect this in this way, and might come back around, and then somehow just spiral towards a solution. But I think if we're going to go with that, let's just read the next handwritten note, because obviously for this hint to really work, there's going to have to be another hint very close to this position to continue the thought. All the arrows in box 1 and 3 can now be completed. And row 8, column 7 must be a 9 with row 8, row 7 and 8, column 8 having a 1, so it must be a 1 too. So I've read all of that. How did we get to that though? I guess we're gonna, this puzzle clearly is 100% on, you're gonna have to test it and figure it out instead of leaning on a logical deduction mechanic. Alright, so let's try this. 9 here, then a 3 or 4 here, and then a 2 here would get us 9, which then would make this a 1, and then a 3 and 4 paralleled opposite of that to get us to an 8. Okay. Don't know how we've gotten to that point to make sure that that's a 9 though. Why couldn't just flip all of that around in the opposite direction? So it must be, if this is 9, this is 6, and this is 2. Wait a minute. That won't work. It will not work at all. 2 and 6 here gets us an 8. Yes, but then that takes the 2 off that. That means this 1 and this 4 and 3 combo also gets us an 8. Okay. But how do we know? That's right. 962 doesn't work as a combination. Specifically in this spot. It would work over here. But if this was 9 and this was 6, then this would have to be either 7, which could go to 6 here, which would block that 6, so can't do that. It'd have to be 7 to 8, which would block the 8, which is fine. Or can't be, or it could be 8. Then it would have to go to 9. It can't go to 9. It could go 8, 7, with this being 9, 6. But we know 9, 6, 2 doesn't work. Well, it's got to be 9, 1. So if this is 9, 1, I kind of need to just reverse the numbers here. But it would be easier just to finish the spot. Nine, 1, 6. Can I get to a 6 without using a 1 here? I think I could. I could have a 3 here. No, I can't do it, can I? Maybe I don't even really have to look at this anymore. The 9-1 combo here. This would make this 5, this 1. 9 here. 3, 4, 2. 9-1 works. 8-6 combo with the 2 here to get to an 8 makes this 1. You still have 3, 4. So both combinations work. Let's just move this around, I guess. So just flip this completely around. We'll add a 5, we'll take off the 2, and we'll pencil mark the 2 and take off the 5. Then we'll pencil mark the 6 and take off the 1. And then we'll supersede the 1. So that's the pattern. Okay. A 1, 5 here makes this a 2, makes that a 9. A 9, 1 here. 6 and 7. Can we get to 6? Some way. 1, 2 plus 3. Yes. So 9, 1 does seem like it works. Okay. We'll try the other combination then. An 8 and a 6 with a 2. Would make this a 1 here. 1, 8, 6, 2. 6 and 7 couldn't be the answer in that case. 7 and 6, this direction couldn't be the answer in that case. 7 and 8 couldn't be the answer in this case. 8 can't be the answer in this case. Yeah, so in this combination, the 8, 6, 2, 6 and 7, because 1 away from 7 is 6 or 8, and 8 can't be the answer. So we had to test out every combination to get to it, but that means that's 9. That means that's 1. That means that's 5. And we, I believe, for a very long time are now putting in numbers, and we're actually putting in numbers based on actual logical movements of my own part, instead of using the hints. It took me till hint 6 to get to this point, however, and suffice it to say, I am more than a little bit unimpressed by that whole process. It says all arrows in box 1-3 can now be completed. I still don't know how we get to that point. At what point did we determine that, or should we have determined? Oh, we can, because of these numbers. Here, these dots. Okay. So then this has to be 4. This has to be 3. This has to be 3. And this has to be 4. And since we now have everything pointing in here, we know this has to be 6. And this has to be 8. Eight, 9. 8 is a possibility here. Still. 7, 6, 9 is still a possibility. And then 6, 5, 7 is still a possibility. So I don't think can solve everything from that. We can potentially get rid of all of this coloring since it's been filled in. And yeah, we have everything else filled in. Hopefully we have everything else filled in correctly. And there's still a lot of other opportunities. So I don't think we're going to get to some basic Sudoku solution for the in-between sections here. Not yet, at least. So it said all arrows in boxes 1, 2 can be completed. Then it's saying row 8, column 7, and this is where I should just stop. Is look at this and use that as my hint to just look at row 8, column 7 here. And consider possibilities and not read any further. Ideally, the hint would have something blacked out, and when you click next, that blacked out part of the sentence would reveal itself. So it would say row 8, column 7 must be blank. Then you click next to show that next part. Then you click next to show the next part. But let's just consider scenarios here. A 7 with a 5 and a 1 would be 6, which would give you 8, 9. So 7 seems like it can't be the possibility. So everything else being right, that has to be a 9. Okay. Then a 5 and a 1 pretty much has to be here. It could be a 1 and a 6, which would give you 7 and 8, 9. Or it could be a 5 and a 1 to give you 6. And then a 3. Could this in any way be 4 or 5? Though, I don't think so. 4 plus 1 plus 5 would be 10, so we can demark 4 and 5 as possibilities. Which then perhaps gets into an interesting question. If there's a 1 here, then this would have to be 5 and 6. 5 or 6. And then the 1 would have to be here. And then, so then it gets you to 6. We would need a 3 here. A 1 plus a 2 would be a 3 here. 3 can't be here. So there is no way this is 6. Because I think if you flip it the other way, and you said the 1 was here and the 2 was here, and then the 3 was here, then that would eliminate the 2 and the 3 completely. So I don't think this can be a 6. 1, 2, and 3 eliminates this 2 and 3. 1. Yeah. 2, 1, 3 can make this be a 2. But then it would eliminate this 1, which would make that a 7. And it make the 1 have to be here, which would equal 8, not 9. So I'm saying this can't be a 6. That's my guess. So then let's take this to the next step. Or maybe we should look at 8s first. Let's look at 8s. A 1 and a 6 and a 3 won't work. I don't think there's any way 6 works in these two spots. A 1 and a 2 and a 6 would work. So yeah, 6 won't work there. Is there any way 6 would work in either of these spots? A 1 and a 6 could potentially work here with 3 to get to 9. In fact, that's probably the only way to get to 9. No, 1 and 6 would be 7 plus 2 would be 8. 8, 9. Yeah, would be 9. Not 3. But to get to 7, 1 and 6 would have already been 7, and that wouldn't have worked. 1 and 2 then makes that have to be 5. 1 and 2 and 5 would then eliminate this from being a 5. 2, 6, 1. If the 1 is here and the 2 is here, then this would be 1 and this would be 2. So that seems doable to get to 7. What about 8? 1 and 2 plus 5 was 8. That was 8 we were looking at, wasn't it? Let's try 7 then. 7 would have to be 4 here with a 1 and 2. So a 1 and 2 here with a 4. That changes nothing over here. The 2 could get rid of this 2, or it could be down here, and then this could be 1, 2, and 4, which then would let this be 2 plus 6 plus 1. So maybe we can't get any further information yet. We can eliminate 5 as a possibility here on that. And that probably also eliminates 4 as a possibility. And 6 can't be a possibility because of this. So what's the next step? I imagine it's not basic Sudoku still. Even though we do have now 9, 10 numbers locked in, we're still 7 away from what you could really do mathematically to solve a Sudoku. I guess inherently, these variant of Sudokus, if they're built on this concept, and they seem like they definitely are built on the concept that they should not be solved until very late in the game by basic Sudoku rules, you're going to have to handcraft your solutions to avoid any scenario you can possibly find. Maybe there's a mathematical way in which to create these puzzles. But yeah, you have to find something really challenging. I wouldn't be surprised if some of it may just be randomly generating a puzzle and playing the puzzle, and then if you like the puzzle, maybe slightly tweaking it instead of actively handcrafting it from scratch. So there has to be a 9 here, which means one of these is 9. That eliminates a couple options. But that was, I think, the only thing so far. Well, we could do something more, though. We can take these and we can say we know that there's a 6, 7, 8 triple here. So 6, 7, and 8 don't belong in these boxes. And then take this and say there's a 5, 7, 9 triple of those. So 5, 7, and 9s don't belong in those boxes. And that maybe helps the process of elimination somewhat. But I bet if we go through basic Sudoku a second time, or a third time, or a fourth time, still very much going to be up in the air. Now, at some point we may determine this isn't a 4, and then that means one of these has to be a 4, and that means one of these has to be a 4. So I see an in to a solution there. Same may be true for 5. No, 9 is here because we just set that all up. Okay. So we got down to the point where we confirmed that this was a 9 with the hint. With a 1 having to continue reading the hint, says row 8 column 7 must be a 9 with a 1 in row 7 and row 8 in, we'll mark that, at least there is a 1 in row 7 and 8 column 8. And then it says row 7 and 8 must be a 1, 2, which probably would be helpful to just mark that more like that. course, in this box, I also have a bunch of negative numbers, and it probably is past the point in which that is going to be useful. And frankly, it may have never been useful. So you have a 1, 2, or 2, 1 possibility. Let's get rid of the it can't be 7, 8, or 9 markings for easier visibility. Yeah, I'm not sure using the negative markings ever really helps that much. So maybe there's room for something different to be done instead of having a red color. Had the red coloring move something. It would be nice if there was a button that locked some states, but you just lock in errors almost certainly. If this is 2, this can't be 3 because that eliminates all possibilities. So then this could be 4, and then this would be 1 to get you to 7, or it could be 5, and it could be a 1 to get you to 8. Could it be 6 to get you to 8? No. 6 is no longer a possibility. So we've got it down to 3, 4, and 5. Which, if maybe we could eliminate 3, 4, and 5 from here, we would have a triple in a row, but that wouldn't really help us any. If this was 7, this could go to 6, or it could go to 8. Either way, it wouldn't matter. One, 6. It would imply to me that a 6 could be here, but it's possible a 6 is just somewhere else in a different cell in this box, because we got rid of the 6 here. Are we perhaps needing to consider the middle spot here? Let's guess that scenario. We didn't. Really would be nice if we could just create a new layer and trace the numbers over this. And just make a photocopy and experiment. 1, 2 here. Either way, removes 1, 2 from being here. Those are the only options. We can start by saying those are wrong. That gets us down to 3, 4, 5, 6. At some point we eliminated that this could be 6, so we can also get rid of 6. And we can't have 3 and 5 equaling 8. And we can't have 3 and 4 equaling 7. And we can have the 3 and 3 equaling 6. So we have every single marked possibility here wrong. Which means this is 9. I bet. Yeah. If 1 and 2, because of this, means 1 and 2 can't be here, then your biggest numbers are 3, 4, and 5, or 6 and 3. Do we have any reason why 6 couldn't be here? Let's add that back. Three and 4 would give you 7, 3 and 5 would give you 8, 3 and 6 would give you 9. This has to be a 3-6 pair. 3 on one side, 6 on one side. Get rid of the red 9s at this point. Three, 4, 5. And then that. Then 4, 5, 6. Spending a lot of time here just trying to mark things correctly. Okay, so I'm either completely off the rails or I figured something out. Let's check to see if we're off the rails and put this as a 9. We are not off the rails. Good. No, I don't think General Sudoku here is going to solve the rest of the 9s, but we can now consider new possibilities. The 1 and 2 here could get you a lower number, but we know it can't be 3 or 4. So the lowest number here is 5. A 1 and 4 here could get you to that point. So we do have like a quintuple here, I think is what it's called, where you, I think that might be the right word, have all 5 of the numbers in the box, but that's actually, in this case, useless. It would have to be all 5 numbers in a row or a column if we could figure out what was here and here and just get to a triple in that order, or a double even in this order. That would work. A 5 and a 1 wouldn't work here to get to 6, but a 5 and a 3 would work here to get to 8. So I don't think I can change anything here or anything here yet. But maybe we are now just supposed to consider everything once again now that we've eliminated some possibilities. If this is 7, that would be 3 plus 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 4. Then that would affect these two pieces really in no way. Then to get to 9, you could have a 5, a 1, and a 3 here. Just fine. So either that's the right solution, and then we'll find out if the other solution's wrong. If this is an 8, then you'd have a 1, 2 pair here, and then you'd have a 5. Okay. That would be how you get to 8. And then this 5 would eliminate the 5 here. So then to get to 9, it would be 6 plus 1 would be 7 plus 2. Does that work? Six plus 1 is 7, plus 2 here is 8, 9. The 6 here would make this 3. The 6, or the 6 here even, would make this 3. But then the 1 pairing would eliminate 1, 1. Maybe that's what I really have to double consider here. If this was 8 and this was 2 and this was 1, and then this was 5. You'd eliminate 1 5 from this, and then this would have to be 6. Then this would have to be 1. And then this would have to be 2. If this eliminates the 1 6, that would make this 3. Which doesn't matter. So it seems like both combinations work. And on the face of it, I don't think I can actually get to a 6 in this spot anyways because of this. Let's just make sure we read all of row of hint 6, handwritten hint 6. Row 7 and 8. Column 2. Must be 1, 2. That's where we got. That helped us for a while. Which then makes, now I see it, easily overlooked. If the possibilities here are 1, 2, 9, and then we know that here combined has to be a 1, 2. If I'd mark that colorfully with a pair, then I would know that would have to be a 9. Okay. Then the 9 maybe eliminates some more possibilities, or is it just maybe going to be a step further in basic Sudoku? 9 has to be in either this column or this column, which then has to be in either this row or this row. If we locked it down where this had to be a 9, then this would have to be an 8, and then this could be a 7, and then we would know that. The question, I guess, would come down to how can we possibly eliminate the possibility of 9s being here and 9s being here. That's got to be something done later. Is there any other possible options? 9, 1, 2 combo. Well, we can mark that. We can mark this. That's not having a 1, 2 in it. And then that gives us 6, 7, 8, which gives us a 6, 7, 8 triple. Alright, let's just label things. There's a triple. There's a double. Are we guaranteed that there will be 3, 6, 7, 8s in this box? Because if I could do that, then I would get this down to 3, 4, 5. At a certain level, now that we've done the 1, 2s, we know that the 1, 2 has to be here. So we can spiral around and say 1 and 2 aren't in that group. So then you have 3, 4, 5 quadruple in these spots, and then a 9 odd man out that is either here or here. So I can't guarantee this to be a real triple though, because of the 9. In fact, I can pretty much guarantee it's not a real triple. So that doesn't actually affect any of this. If I had a 7 here, this could be 6 still. In fact, doesn't this have to be 6? Just by basic Sudoku. If a 6 can't be here, And we know 6, 7, 8 are here. Or we think it is. No, there still could be a 6 here. There still could be a 6 here. Not quite to that point. In fact, that may not even be the way we're going to resolve that. If this is a 3 and this is a 6, then this still could be a 3. If this was a 3 and this was 1, 2, then this would be a 6. And we've done something already to eliminate that as a possibility, so let's unmark that. That brings that down to a 4, 5. So we got the 1, 2s as far as we can go. 6, 7, 8 here, 6, 7, 8 here. If we could find another place where a 6 could be. Seems like there needs to be another place where a 6 can be. But we know that 6, 7, and 6 here. Oh, I marked these wrong. This is not a real triple, is it? I don't think it is. Is there a scenario where this could be 6, 7, and something else than 8? No, it is a real triplicate. Regardless of how it balances out. And it's not what we're used to by any means. I'm used to just 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8. But regardless of whether this is 7 and 8, that would eliminate one of these two, making this a 6. If this was 7, this would be 6, 8, and then this would be 6. And then, so then this would be 6. And then that would make this 8. If this is 8, then this would be a 6, 7. And between that pair, you have 6 and 7. Either way, that gives you a real triple, so that means we know 6 can't be here. We know, or at least we're fairly certain, 6 can't be here. Yeah. Because we've been told by the hints. Were we wrong about removing 6 from this spot? Probably not. 6 plus 2 plus 3 could be a 7. Yeah, 6 plus 2, 7, 8 plus 1 would be 8. So why did I eliminate that? Because a 6 here would eliminate this, make this 3. So 6, 3, and then a 1 or 5 is an option here. And so 2 plus 1 or 5 here. Would either be 7 plus 1 or 3 here. Yep. It would have to be a 2. And then 2 would have to be a 6 here. And then that means that can't be a 6. So if I tried 6 here, then that eliminates 3 and the 6 from the combination, making you make a 2 and a 5 here and a 1 here. And then that would make this a 2. That would make a 1 here. Maybe that is possible. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's just put it back. I can't do all the scenarios. See if we can just get a smart hint. There's a hidden single. Okay, so it is just that my eyes have glazed over at 184 minutes on this puzzle. And so I'm missing something obvious. 9 can only go in row 5, column 8. Okay, I see that now. We'll take that smart hint. We'll mark that. Then the next step is we'll just do some basic Sudoku testing. Looking at the 1s. Don't think anything can happen there. Looking at the 2s. Don't think anything can happen there. Looking at the 3s. Don't think anything can happen there. Looking at the 4s. Don't think anything can happen there. Looking at the 5s. Probably no solution there. Still just far too many possibilities everywhere. We do know a 6 and a 3 in this pair have to be here, don't we? So if we go back and look at the 3s now, does that change anything? If we look at the 6s now, that means the 6 has to be here in these two. Means we can take the 6 out from that. We're getting better now. Slowly through just brute force process of elimination. If the 7s can only be here, that eliminates those, and if all the possible combinations here eliminate 7s, then this, all of these spots can't be 7. And then that eliminates all the other possibilities, doesn't it? Which means we get to a 7 here. And that was, I guess what we had to do is just start leaning on the eights and no, not eights. Start leaning on the brute force Sudoku rules. Let's go around one more time. I suspect nothing's gonna change here, but I don't think I need to worry too much about that either, because now that we've locked in the 7, we just gotta remember to come in and solve that 7 arrow. But I do just want to make sure I didn't open up another realm of possibility, because inherently I don't want to maximize the number of times I'm going to go in circles, which is already going to be a lot of times solving a Sudoku puzzle. Alright. We know now that if this is 1 and 2 combo, which it has to be, the right answer to go from 1 and 2 has to be 4. Okay. 4 doesn't change, I think, much of anything else, unfortunately. But we don't have to rely solely on that, because we can consider the situation here where this could be 6 and then this could be 5. Which maybe won't affect anything else. Or this could be 8. And then this could be 8 or 9. Which I don't think would affect anything else. If this was 6, then this would have to be 8. If this was 8, then this would have to be 6. We know these two then must be paired. So that would make a pair that says 6 and 8. It has to be in one of these. So then we at the very least know that's not an 8. Maybe by Sudoku then that eliminates possibility of 8s? No. But we can just come over here and mark all the 6s and 8s as wrong. Now. And then that means 8s can only be here, which means this has to be an 8. 8s can only be here, which means we should mark those as not having 8. One. We'll just go through all the numbers starting at 1, because I do think we are in the phase where brute force, classic Sudoku, maybe I shouldn't use the phrase brute force, classic Sudoku is the way to solve it. Nope, I'm not saying anything, so in the interest of time, since we're approaching 200 minutes, let's just look at a smart hint. Apparently the 8 can only go in row 9, column 3. Why? Oh, I see. Because this 8 is not possible. So even though, just looking at 8, I see this, I needed to, at some point, realize that I had done so much basic Sudoku, and we have one more of these arrows. This 8 cannot be an 8. Which then that would have left that in that situation. Which then would have said this has to be an 8. Which means that has to be a 6. Which means this has to be a 9. Maybe that then makes that a 9, I guess. And it'll be a while, but we're almost done with the 9s. I see that there's a pattern of now a pair of 3 5s. So we can get rid of 3 5s here to get to 1 2 4s in that spot. And this 6 locked that to being a 7. Which then I guess locks that to being an 8. Okay. To be a 7, this could be, this here can't be 5 because we don't have 2. Could be 4, 3. It could be, can't be 3, 4. Could be 2, 5. And could be 1, 6. Okay. So that's lowering the possibilities. This is a 3, 5, 6 triple. This is 1, 2, 4. This is a 3, 5 pair. We've practically solved everything here, so I would be very surprised if I even really need to look in these first 3 cubes in this column. I think all the other possibilities and deduction is going to come from these 6, and probably not this one. This is probably the last one we're going to do. We could, however, save ourselves some distraction by decolorizing what now no longer matters to pay attention to. If this is a 3, 6, then 3 shouldn't be in this pile. 6 isn't in that pile. See, this I suppose is technically a pair, so we could colorize that to pay more attention to it. And I would heavily suspect that we just need to do some basic Sudoku. We're looking for a box that is a singled out column or row, that there's not any other possibility. Here we go. There can only be 1 7 there. Which then means there can only be a 7 here. But I imagine that means we're not going to figure out what a 7 is for a while with this pattern at the top here. But if we are learning something, we know that a 6 has to be here. So if a 6 has to be here, the only way to get to a 9 with a 6 would be 6, 1 to get to 7, and then 8, 9 with a 2. So I'm gonna hope I'm right about that and eliminate a couple options. And then I think we can go pretty and highlight it in a color. I guess if this is right, we can test and say, is that 2? Yes. Does this 2 highlight the area of influence? I guess if I guess I really see a reason now. If you want your Sudoku puzzles to be really challenging, you would turn off the area of influence being highlighted after you set a number. Otherwise, by default, it is just going to give you a really decent chance of figuring out what the next step would be. I do believe that has just solved everything. What? That's wrong. So if this is not 6, no, it's 3. No, it's not 3. Right, well, let's clear this field. And just, we made a mistake there, but everything else is falling into place so nicely that I'm very shocked by that. How could I have made a mistake in that way? We now know that this is 8 and this is 7, so this has to be 1. Then basic Sudoku eliminates all these from being 1s, eliminates all these from 1s, and then eliminates that from being 1, so that has to be 1. Even though we don't even have these numbers filled in, we could certainly go back and fill them in. I probably miscalculated. This probably is 9. And then it can't be a 7-2. And it can't be, I guess, a 3-6 because it says that's wrong. It could be a 5-4 here. It probably is that. Couldn't be a 4-5 in that order. Then 3-6 said was wrong. 3-6 5-4 eliminate 4, and then leave that as a possible 9. Well, we'd already determined that was a 9, hadn't we? Yeah. We were relying on that data, so we'll leave that as set. We're almost, I think, to a point where we'll have everything set on one number. We can now get back to just doing classic Sudoku. The monotony of solving classic Sudoku is welcome at this point, because 200 minutes of just being beaten down by incredibly difficult puzzles, just something easy and mindless would be helpful. I guess that's where games like clicker games or idle games could really shine. If there was, say, a more difficult game like this Sudoku puzzle game or something similar, and then when you got bored of that you played some mindless clicker game or idle game. Even something like high strategy, like a poker game, having a mindless idle game would make a lot of sense. And I guess that's why casinos do have like higher minded, more complicated things like poker that require thinking, but then they also have just bright, colorful, mostly idle slot machines, if not completely idle slot machines. Although that comparison is a little bit flawed in the fact that casinos are intentionally also projecting, well, wrong about that one too. Casinos are also intentionally making very complicated puzzles, puzzling games to confuse people. If this is an 8, then this would have to be a 7. The 7's already here. We know that's a 7, so this can't be an 8. If this is a 3, then this would have to be a 2. And so we know it's a 3. It makes that a 2. Makes that an 8. Makes that a 6. Makes that a 1. Which still doesn't help with this 5, 7, 9 triple. Here. So let's just individually fill in each of these cubes and see in each of these cells, and I keep wanting to call everything a cube when there's not any 3D-ness to it all, although 3D-ness might help. Yeah, and at a certain level, it's kind of crazy. I haven't seen anybody try this. You could take a bunch of dice, like, which are made very cheaply and in great abundance, and then, well, I guess the problem with the dice is it's 6-sided. You would need a 9-sided dice, which would be difficult to do, but yeah, you could have 2 sets of dice, certainly, 1 through 6, and then 7 through 9, or 1 again, and wrap around. Or you could add some extra symbols, which then you would be making custom dice. And then you could have like a 3D printed or molded plastic case where the dice themselves are in a holder. And so you place the dice down when you lock in a number, and then maybe they could have a little bit of a rubber backing on them so you can push them back up and rotate things. And then you could have a travel Sudoku thing. Although, if you did that, you still would need a booklet to tell you the Sudoku puzzles, or you would just have to be told to, like, shake the dice and randomly place them and see if you can solve it. And it probably would just be as easy to sell dice alone. But yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say here is it's weird that there hasn't been any attempt to take a pen and paper puzzle game and turn it into a more physical, I can sell it for a higher price type toy. Although I guess maybe that really does feel like something that Hasbro would have tried. Okay, I'm supposed to be filling all this in instead of just imagining things that don't exist. So 1, 2, possibly 3, possibly 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9. 1, 2 are out, 3 is out, 4 is out, 5 possibly, and then not 6, 7 possibly, not 8, not 9, then 1, 2, possibly 3, possibly 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 3 can't be here, otherwise this would be 3, 3, 4, and 5 can't be here. Could 7 be here with a 2? No. If you put a 7 here and a 2 here, this 2, 7 would eliminate that. Okay. I'm trying to just logically solve it, even though there's a decent chance I could just guess. The last thing to potentially consider on the arrows, and then we will just be done with the arrows after this spot, would be this 3, 5, and I don't think we really have to consider it, since this, if it's correct, is already a 3, which means this is already a 5, which means this is a 2, And this is a 6. This is a 4, 2, 1, 3, 4, 3. Then you have a 4, 5 pair. It may be a while until we can get any further with that. But I suspect everything else is just going to fall down through basic Sudoku. We've already gotten the ones locked in and I didn't even notice. That's 2. All the 2s hit locked. 3s can't be done at the moment. 4s can't be done at the moment. 5s possibly going to be the same situation for a lot of these. 6s, 7s. I may have to use a hint here. Still, like, this is the only place an 8 can be. So then that gives us a path there. Then 9s. So what's stopping us is it's just this combo. And there's a 6 here, so this can't be 6. That's not what I meant to do. It's a 5. It's a 4. Okay. Now it's gotta be just basic Sudoku for the rest of this. I put in the wrong information again. So let's clear that block and that block because both of those are suspect, and let's try and start again fresh. We know 1 through 4 just because of this row can't be right. We know 5, 7, and 9 can't be right, so that would tell me this is probably 6 and 8 as a possibility. Double check that. No 6 and 8s. It's a possibility. 1 through 4 and 5. No 7 and no 9. Same thing. Now 1, 2, possibly 3, no 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, not 3 either. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Guess that's 8, 9. No, can't be 8, 9. It's just got to be 8. 9 is here. 8 is a possibility. 7 isn't. 6 isn't. 5 isn't. 4 isn't. 3 isn't. 2 isn't. 1 isn't. So that was what was supposed to happen to get to that point. Then we got a 4 here. Then we've got a 5 here. We fixed all the 4s. I didn't even recognize that. And we're about to fix all the 5s. And we're just going to solve everything very, very quickly. There's no more speed bumps on the field. We could take a moment to decolorize that. And we look at 9s, there's only 1 9 left. So we've solved the puzzle at 213 minutes. And it was a slow start and didn't really I really wouldn't have been able to solve it without the first 4 or 5 handwritten hints. And I couldn't use smart hints until I got past the 4th or 5th handwritten hint. This first one though, let's see if we can still even figure out what this is. I mean, everything played out exactly like my math says. 9 plus 9 is 18. More importantly, it's an even number, like any number that would be doubled. We're getting 9 plus 9 by adding 2 and 4 and 3 to equal 9 to that to 18. Then 8 and 8, it would be 16, which is again an even number. And that we get that by adding 1 and 3 and 4 to get to 8. 18 plus 16 is, well, let's see, 34 as the total value. Yeah, 18 plus 16. You take the 2 from 16 to the 18. This is dumb math. I don't think anybody teaches it this way. That gives you 20. And then you would have 14 left over to add to the 20 to get to 34. You know what? I'm going to just pull out a calculator just to double check that I am not tripping it on the math. I'm going to do this as simple as possible. 9 times 2 plus, my calculator is actually very nice because you can write on the screen. You don't have to actually type in numbers. 8 times 2 plus, of course, the problem with that math with the writing on the screen is that it has to actually recognize your writing. So the math adds up to 34, not 33. When I reread this hint, it says the relevant circles have a maximum value of 33. What do they mean by relevant circles? Is there something about these dots here that eliminated this 1 but wouldn't have eliminated this 2 from consideration? No, I can't waste any more time on this hint. I have to just assume it's a typo and that this was supposed to say 34. Or, at the very least, I can definitely throw shade here and say they need to define what they mean by relevant circles. What? Why are you even saying circles? Like the only circles here would be the root of the arrow. You should probably call them roots, not circles, but even if that was the case. And this is the very first hint, and so almost none of the numbers would have been filled in at that point. Anyways, then we continued down the logic train through hint 2 and hint 3. And then they are using the words circles. maybe there's something here. Maybe you're supposed to just add up all these digits together to get to 33. I don't see how you'd really hit that. If this was, say, a 9 as a maximum, and then this would have to be an 8, and this would have to be an 8. So that alone would get you to 34 just looking at these 4 puzzles. Yeah, it's got to be wrong. We got to hint 4, and that's when it started to help. And then we did hint 5, I think. And then we got to hint 6, and hint 6 was really when we could start to solve it. And I don't think we made it to hint 7, so let's read this. Row 4 is naked, and row 4 column 2 is naked, and then row 4 column 8 can be deduced, which I assume means you figured out that was 9, and then that deduced what this could be. I'm not even looking at the right places. Row 4 column 2 would be this, right? 1 2 3 4 1 2, and then row 4 column 8 would be this, and that can be deduced. Then row 7 and 8 column 8. I'm not looking at the right thing. What it's saying here, what sucks here, I gotta say, is when I'm already brain drained at the end of these episodes and I'm trying to read the hints, it's just more difficult. Row 4 column 2 is this. If it's naked, then you can deduce row 4 column 8 here, which that makes more sense. And then row 7 column row 7 and 8 column 8 must be a 1 6 or 5 7, and in box 9 row 9 must be this must be 1 6, and then 5 7 must be in these spots, which that was true. And I guess we deduced that. And then the last hint would have been in box 7. 7 must be in row 8, column 3. And the remaining arrows allow the puzzle to be completed. I definitely think a lot of these handwritten notes could use something else after just saying the rest of the puzzle can be completed. When I've seen Cracking the Cryptic do his YouTube channel, which I am extremely jealous at this point for how short his episodes seem to be very often, he does kind of speed through the last phase of solving any Sudoku puzzle, and there really isn't too much to say when you are just doing basic Sudoku, but this would be a point at the very least where the next button should just be smart hint, and then it would just give you a smart hint and another smart hint and another smart hint if you are frustrated. Because if you are still struggling at this point, if you're just brain drained, I guess, like I am often, it's just that extra bit of friction to have to click previous all the way here to go to a smart hint to get to this point. Anyways, that's the cat's whiskers. 223 minutes and 52 seconds. Really, really long time. roughly 4 hours to solve that puzzle. And it's been a fairly efficient day for me overall. I did 148 minutes on this puzzle. I did another 70 plus minutes on the previous puzzle. I didn't do Killer Little Killer today. So I'm making 3 extremely long episodes. Thank goodness we're in the last stretch here. And I'll have to make a decision. I would guess my thought pattern is we'll probably do the interference number 18 by Qodec next turn. Next recording. Odd Killer Sudoku, that's yet another variant. As far as the name of the puzzle, the Cat's Whiskers, it does seem like that's just more creative name making than anything else. Seems to be the case with almost all the puzzles, is none of them really give you any hint as to how to solve them, or I would try to creatively find names for the puzzles that would give a hint. Anyways, we don't need to stretch out the ending here. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to check out other games I've covered, you can go to my Facebook page, my YouTube page, and click on the playlist tab. I have a playlist for every game I've ever covered. There are a lot of them. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link down below to Patreon. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.